You're listening to the After the Show movie podcast brought to you by ascully.com. And here are your hosts, A Scully and Sid Talk. That's my Mission Impossible a cappella. Do you like it?
Am I forced to answer just because we're married to each other? Is that the rule?
If Tom Cruise wants me to sing that during scenes, I'm free and available.
We'll contact the people right away. Their people, we'll call their people.
Yes. So what's the before the after the show discussion here?
This movie, your crush on Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible movies, action in general.
Really? Yeah, I would say Tom Cruise I do like Tom Cruise a lot. One of my favorite film stars.
I know. You've always been right there for him. I mean, I like him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's got ups and downs, but definitely.
Yeah, but guess what? Not only is he good in like something like this, some crazy action thing. Look at a movie I would recommend this week, Magnolia, for a dramatic performance.
Absolutely, that's an intense one.
He can do. It seems he can do anything. He's like, is he actually human?
I think so. Oh, I think he is.
All right, so it is Saturday, December the 1st. Happy Christmas, everybody. It's almost Christmas. Hope you've got all your presents wrapped.
If you do Christmas, if you don't do Christmas, don't worry about it. It's nothing. Let's make it very clear.
Happy whatever you do, and if you do nothing, happy that too.
Exactly. We're not Christmas people for the Christmas reasons. We just dig the presents and the love and the free openness to, maybe be better than you were yesterday just a little bit. Think of someone else for a change.
This is not time yet for your advice.
No, right? Think of that.
So stop that.
Pause on the advice.
All right, so it's Saturday, December the 1st. This is After the Show number 559. We're a weekly movie review podcast. This week we're looking at Mission Impossible Fallout, which is what number in the Mission Impossible series?
I don't know.
Have you lost count?
I have.
I believe it's number 6. I'll go with 6. If it's not 6, I'm sorry. All right, so it's a 2018 release. You can actually pick it up on Blu-ray this upcoming Tuesday. It's on 4K, Blu-ray, digital. If you want to watch it this weekend, it's on digital already. It's from our friends at Paramount who sent us a copy for review. And Sid Talk will give you the synopsis of the movie Mission Impossible Fallout.
I don't think so. You're the Mission Impossible guy.
It's the...
you do it.
Mission Impossible Fallout is the latest in the Mission Impossible
Is this
franchise.
Your synopsis?
Yep, I'm saying it. Franchise. Ethan Hunt and his gang of Mission Impossiblers.
Okay, hold on. Just let's pause because you always complain about mine. This
I haven't finished yet.
Really horrible. Yeah, but it's horrible. You've got up to a terrible start.
If you can do a better job.
Always.
Go on then.
It's Mission Impossible, number 25.
That's not better.
Also not accurate.
Ethan Hunt and his gang of Mission Impossible-ites.
Mm-hmm.
The Mission Impossible Force, right? MI.
Is that what it is?
I believe.
Okay.
Have to stop the world from being destroyed. It's kind of like a Bond film, but it's not one. You know what I'm saying?
By people who want to just destroy the old world, the way we do things.
Yeah. It's not a new novel idea, but it is executed quite well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's fun.
Let's move on to the movie.
What's one of the first things I say during the movie? I can't wait to see what Cinema Sins has to say about it.
Well,
I can't help it. It just seems like, oh yeah. I can feel that one coming.
We're in, summer blockbuster movie mode here, because this is one of the biggest movies this year. And what Mission Impossible does well, and I love all of, well, no, I don't love all of them. I hate the second one. I really don't like it at all.
You do?
If I was doing a watch of the movies, I think I wouldn't even put the second one on.
No, I think you're a completist. You would force yourself, probably.
But the first one is fantastic. Brian De Palma, top of his game. You know, Brian De Palma's not, like, famous for doing super big blockbuster movies, but he nailed his style in a blockbuster movie with that. And I love it to this day. What do you think of when you think of the first one?
I don't remember it that well.
I think of the helicopter blade coming towards his neck.
I think of him dropping down on that wire. Was that the first
there's
one?
also that.
Yeah, there's that little bit. I guess if I think about it, I think of that.
But I've loved this franchise, and then, what happened was number 2 was done by John Woo, and it was very gun fu, John Woo style. They were doing ballet on motorcycles at one point. It was very odd. It didn't seem to fit to me. It never did. It felt a bit weird. The doves were flying away at some point. It was like, oh, look, John Woo's doing his things. And then the third one came along by J.J. Abrams, and it was fantastic. The third one was the one with my guy from Boogie Nights as the bad guy.
Correct.
Seymour Hoffman. Rest in peace, Mr. Hoffman. And, he came along, J.J. Abrams. I thought that one was fantastic. You might disagree. I don't know. That was one of my favorite ones, the third one.
Yeah, I like that one.
And then maybe this is the fifth one. Because then, no, the next one was the one where he climbed which was at the awesome stunt scene where he climbs to the, on that Abu Dhabi skyscraper. It was really cool. Then there was the last one, which was the one where Tom took off on a plane, hung on the side of the plane while it took off for real. And that movie, Rogue Nation, is actually the prequel to this movie. They actually are a pair. Watch them together, you'll understand it better. Because Siddharth was a bit lost on this one.
Yeah, even though I saw the other one.
Even though she saw the other one, but she has to see it within a 2-week period, otherwise she just forgets completely.
That's not accurate. I mean, it might be accurate, but I don't feel like
it's pretty accurate. Because I'll say to you, like 2 weeks later, what did you think of that film we watched 2 weeks ago? And you go, I don't even know which film.
Were they in it? Was that person in it? I just store what I need to store. It's not, it's not rocket science. I just only need what I need.
Now, when it comes to this one, Mission Impossible Fallout, me being a fan of the whole series, it's not my favorite Mission Impossible movie, but as far as upping the ante of everything, like how large this movie is, how many locations it takes place in, how many stunts there are, this one takes the biscuit, or whatever you call it, takes the award for best everything. Like, it just steps everything up, and it makes it very entertaining. Tom Cruise does all his own stunts again. Some of the stunts are you were watching the screen and going, surely Tom Cruise didn't do this? There's he does a halo jump, which is one of those very, very, very high parachute jumps. The way it comes across in the movie is like one continuous shot from him jumping out of the plane to him landing. I know it's not, there's some movie trickery in there, but he did actually do the jump. It is crazy to watch it. I was watching the stunts in this movie and I was thinking, there is no other movie that has this level of stunts, right?
True.
And it's something to do with the fact that as an audience that they're really doing the stunts makes them even better. Because when you're watching James Bond, it's quite clear that that's not James Bond doing the stunts.
We like to call him Bond friend.
Yeah, and they often, they're a bit better at it nowadays, but even now, there's some shots of Daniel Craig from the back when he's hanging on something, you're like, no, that's not Daniel Craig, it's slightly wrong. But in these Mission Impossible movies, because Tom Cruise makes such a big deal out of saying, hey, I do the stunts in these movies, you all know that. Every time you go and watch one, you're like, so how can he top last time? He tops it every time, right? This one, he topped the last one where
that's a matter of opinion. Some people might not
think. In my opinion, he tops it. Last one where he took off hanging onto a plane. I was like, holy shit. How would anybody in the right mind do that? In this one, when he's flying a helicopter, what the hell? Like that whole stunt, climbing up a rope onto a helicopter.
I said worst gym class ever. Because that's that thing where you have to climb up the rope to the ceiling.
Yeah, get into the helicopter, pilot the helicopter through really treacherous stuff. That whole sequence is crazy, actually, when you think about it, breaking it down into all the different parts, what he did. I know it's Not like he did it, but he was flying the helicopter for real, because he is a pilot, and he was climbing up the rope. And
Not at the same time. That is like Superman level.
Yeah, true. And then there's that, the whole... There's a sequence in this movie also, which I found really impressive. It reminded me of the movie Ronin. The car chase in Ronin. And you don't like car chases that much, but this one's motorcycles and armored vans and police cars, and it's all through the center of Paris. And I kept looking at it going, is this CG trickery? Because how do they get to do this in the middle of Paris? And it's not in the middle of the night, it's in the daytime. Or is it in the middle of the night and then they make it look like the daytime? I don't know. But they pulled off a car chase in the middle of Paris that was like almost unbelievable, They also pulled off a foot chase in the middle of London, which was in places where I've never seen them film. You know that building that he ends up on when he's out of breath, stood on top of it? I've never seen somebody climb that one before.
Yeah, no.
So the stunts in this, and there's really 4 big set pieces in terms of stunts, which is more than in the other movies. There's normally 2 or 3, but they went for 4, and all 4 of them are super exciting. They're, obviously not very realistic, because nobody could be a superhuman like this. But as far as movies go, I think it's some of the best stunts I've seen in movies. And I've seen all the Bond movies, and those are, if you go and watch Bond movies, those are the movies with a lot of stunts, right? I mean, you go to a Bond movie to watch the stunts.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the highest level of
best. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this tops them, just because you know that he's really doing it. So, what did you think? What do you think of the plot?
Confusing a little. I know people are going to think I'm an idiot, but it's like somebody shows up and they're like, oh, you're trying to kill him because they told you to kill him, but then later it's like, no, I'm not trying to kill him because of them. I'm trying to kill him because of them. No, I'm trying to get them because of him, because of them, because of them.
There's a lot of triple agent, double agent, triple agent, quadruple agent.
But they're not when you really break it down. That's why it's overly confusing to me. But I get the gist. But then I'm just like, not remembering the last movie probably didn't help. Because I don't remember how that one woman became the person who MI6 needs to help her out. I don't recall the bad guy heart at all. I was like, oh, this is an interesting bad guy. And then you're like, oh yeah, he's from the last one. Oh.
I would suggest if you're going to watch this movie and you haven't seen the others, you don't need to see them all, but definitely see the last one, Rogue Nation. Because like Skyfall and Quantum of Solace, the Bond films kind of join together. Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, like they join together. These also join together in that way. So you might come into this movie, never have seen any Mission Impossible movies, and be slightly confused, I would imagine, by like who's who.
Yeah, I don't feel like it stands alone for that. And like I said, people might be like, oh my God, it's so dumb. How can you not get it? But
no, they're definitely a set because they expect you as an audience to know who people are in this movie by not telling you. Somebody, for instance, Rebecca Ferguson's character turns up, and the only way you know that she is part of it before is just, it seems vague to me. It's not, but there again, if they tried to explain that, it would come across like...
Exposition City.
Where they're like, hey, remember her from last time? Or a flashback or something weird. But they don't do any of that. They don't do a flashback to the other movie at all, which they could if they wanted to kind of clarify some things.
That would be cheesy. I wouldn't want that either.
I wouldn't want it either. But they don't attempt to do anything. So if you're brand new to the franchise, you have to kind of do a few. Oh, I guess that somebody was supposed to know. Then you're gonna have to do that in your mind. But I think in general though, you won't be super confused.
Sometimes it's confusing. They all seem to know what's going on, so that's what counts.
Yeah. So did you like the action? Is this your favorite?
Favorite?
In Mission Impossible?
No. I have pockets of goodness and pockets of give me a break. It's lasted too long. I'm not a car chase person, so there's lots of that. And I got a little bit worn out about it. I mean, they're fine. They're good, but still not that interesting to me.
The sequence where they pushed his armored van into the water.
Yeah, that was good.
And then the wall of... Like, I always wondered, like, if a van... You know, if you're in a vehicle that's locked up and then it starts to sink into the water's getting into the vehicle fairly quickly because you're underwater. But this shows it like almost like a wave coming at him. I've never seen that before. It was a pretty interesting visual. I'm not sure that that's how it really happens, but it looks really cool in the movie.
It did.
So yeah, there was a lot of cool... You got to admit, though, that the end sequence with the helicopters, you were on the edge of your seat, right?
Kind of, but that also got a little bit much, like, really? Okay, we're crashing into each other, shooting at each other, crash into each other, crash into the ground, roll down the thing, slide down the thing again, get hooked on the cliff, fall off the cliff.
I love that, mate, because it kept, ratcheting it up every
two
time.
of those things would have been fine.
Yeah.
Knock them down, fall off. That's fine. Falling off, boring.
Yeah.
Super boring, but
no,
it looks good.
It was far from boring, in my opinion. It was just like...
falling off is always boring.
No, there's just the whole thing, like that whole helicopter
Right, but that
sequence,
part, that to resolve it,
where the helicopter slid into the rocks and went downwards.
That part I was like, okay, enough is enough.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I love that. I love anything like that, any big action thing. It was like a thing that they would do in Bond, but I feel like they did it slightly better, you know, because it was... But they are very Bond-like stunts, these stunts. And, you know, there wasn't that much of a car chase in this for you to be bored of.
There was a lot.
There was a car chase in the middle of the movie, but it was on a bike.
Yeah, that's the same as a car chase. And that's just as boring when it lasts too long.
I didn't feel like that even lasted that long. It felt like it was over in a blink of an eye.
It seemed to go like on and on and on. Because you like it. You like my bikes and you like cars. But it was just a bit long for me.
What about the sequence, the opening sequence? What about that?
It's good. It's not what you expect because it's not a big dun 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 dun. It's more on the under.
Yeah, they duped me at least twice in this movie where I was like, oh, what?
Yep.
At least twice. And then one time they were trying to do it again. And I said to you, oh, I think I might have this one. And turns out I did. So I said to you, you can't do it too many times in one movie because we're going to get wise to it. But they did dupe me right at the beginning, which I really liked. So as far as Mission Impossible movies, I was super excited for it. I would watch this again. In fact,
I bet you will. You'll watch it 4 more times.
the disc has 4 commentaries on it, and it has an isolated music score, so you can just watch the movie with the music playing at full blast and no dialogue, which is an interesting way to watch movies. If you've ever... Star Wars has an isolated music track on it, The Last Jedi. And when you watch it that way, without any dialogue, but just the full orchestra, it's really interesting. It makes it feel really different. So, the cast of this movie, Tom Cruise comes back as Ethan Hunt. Tom Cruise, I would just say, is one of my favorites. I feel like he can do almost anything. I think he can do dramatic acting, comedy acting. Obviously, he's very good at action. What else is there?
Action, drama.
Drama.
Romance.
He's very good at romance. He's very good at. Jerry Maguire had some romance.
Yeah, I think that's way overrated.
Oh, I really like that. But
I know you do, but I'm saying it's overrated.
I'm trying to think. Has he been Risky Business? Has a lot of romance, I guess.
It's a bit young to judge him on his performance, I think.
He hasn't really been in many romance movies, has he? I really like The Last Samurai. That's a kind of a period
but it's
piece.
very Tom Cruise-y.
Yeah, a Tom Cruise period piece. I don't know. I just really like Tom Cruise. I think he is a movie star.
I think we've established that he.
I think he's a movie star that's gone through the age. You know, how many decades has he been a movie star? When did he start?
The 80s.
Was it 70s or 80s?
80s.
Right, and he's consistently been in the box office. Right, I don't think he ever took a break.
I think there's big gaps, but
you're not as hyped on him as me.
No, no. I mean, he's fine. I enjoy him. I believe that he makes the effort to make it more than just showing up, jumping around, doing some stuff, and make $50 million. Yes, he makes $50 million. And everybody can say, ugh, it'd be nice. You know, I work my ass off as a doctor or a nurse or a guy who climbs up electrical poles to fix your electric every time the electric goes off. I don't make $50 million. That's totally fair assessment for a guy who just pretends to be other people. So I think he's made the most of what he can do once he has decided he was an action star. He's a production company. He does do charities and all that. I'm not judging him as a whole human, but I'm not as big on him to just see him on the screen. I'm not like, oh, Tom Cruise.
What did, at the beginning of this disc, this is just off topic a little bit, but it's a Tom Cruise thing. What did Tom Cruise say to us?
What did he say? You tell. You're more technical than me.
Tom Cruise and the director, Christopher McQuarrie, they came on the screen and they said, we go to great lengths to make these movies look great and sound great, and we know that people don't set up the TVs correctly. And they use something called SDE, which it's the motion smoothing on new televisions, like 4K ones especially. And they said the words, sometimes you can be watching a movie and you'll looking at it and you'll think something is wrong with the picture, but you can't quite you don't know what it is.
Can't put your finger on it.
And it's that setting, and it's the motion smoothing, which makes movies run at 24 frames per second, technically. 23.9 if you want to nitpick. And what that motion smoothing does is it makes the movie run at 60 frames per second or 120 if you've got a really fancy TV, which is not how it's supposed to look. There's a distinct difference between very smooth 60 hertz video and film video. It looks different. And the thing that people say is it gives it the soap opera effect, because soap operas are filmed in 60 frames per second and they look really slick on TV. But they don't look like film. It's a weird look. So the director and Tom Cruise, for about 3 minutes, tell you that go and look in your settings, turn that off. You'll have a better, experience watching this movie if you watch it how it's supposed to be. And I've never seen that done. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those, what bugs you a lot is when you go to somebody's house and they've got the aspect ratio wrong.
Yes.
So they're watching a movie and they've got it,
everybody's squished.
Squished, yeah. And if you say to them people, you've got your aspect ratio, they don't know what you're talking about. They have no idea. That's just how it is to them, right? They're used to that. The squished is how TV is.
Which is crazy. It's crazy.
You can't really talk them out of it unless you just fix it for them without them noticing. This is the same thing. It's a new thing that you'll notice if you're a person who watches films and goes, wow, that film looks really weird. What is it? So go in your TV and turn that stuff off when you're watching a movie. It will make it look better. So that was a little bit off topic, but Henry Cavill turns up in this movie as August Walker. What do you think of Henry after seeing him in the Justice League recently?
Pretty neutral. I mean, he does it well enough, but I still don't feel like he's much of a threat. You know what I mean?
Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
I'm not telling him, you tell him. It's a spoiler. I'm just thinking no matter what he is, if he's trying to intimidate the bad guy or he's trying to be just, I don't feel it. I feel like he's too reserved. And it was the same in, what was it? The other one where he was a spy.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Correct. So in that one, it was all right.
That one was really good.
Because it's supposed to be quite funny, but then it's, and it fit kind of. Or if he's trying to be Clark Kent all the time, I'm just going to throw that out there. That seems fine. But in this, I just need him to be more believable. There's one scene where he's laying it on the line there near the end, in the cell down
where he says the F word.
I don't know, when he's down there saying to the guy all the stuff, laying it out there.
That's the first F word in any Mission Impossible movie. Trivia.
Well, if you're watching close, you see the pilot also says that when he gets shot.
Right.
You don't hear him, but his mouth says it very clearly. So there's two of them squeezed in there. So he's fine. He's just, I need him to be a little more committed to being psychotic or convincingly dependable.
Now,
as a good guy or a bad guy, I don't care. Just commit.
Now, Henry Cavill is not Superman anymore. He has signed on with Netflix, and they're doing a TV series, like a Game of Thrones type scenario, of The Witcher, the video game that I love. And he's going to be The Witcher. So I'm interested to see that. Because I think you will like The Witcher, to be honest. It's a vampire.
Nice.
It's
I do like me vampires.
Yeah, it's like it's a fantasy kind of world, but it's like, Slavic kind of country like type place. And it's real kind of gruesome and weird. I think you might like it.
What does that say? What's everybody thinking? Wow. She likes it to be gruesome and weird?
As far as the video game goes, if they do a good job of translating it, it could be good. Ving Rhames turns up again as Luther Sticknall. It's pretty much Ving Rhames just being Ving Rhames, right?
They give him the chance to be like, have a scene of something, but
he's the same in every one of these.
I wasn't that interested.
He's just like a peripheral guy he's pretty, in this one especially, he's very pivotal to what's happening.
Sure.
Especially
his character is,
the
but not him.
Yeah. Simon Pegg returns as Benji. Now, Simon Pegg showed up in Mission Impossible 3 as a small part, but now he's kind of a fully fledged...
Yeah, I was going to say, in the first one, we see him hiding away, basically, back at headquarters,
Yep.
tippity typing.
Yeah, and now he's a fully fledged agent in the field.
Spoiler, he gets a mask at some point.
Yeah, what do you reckon? What do you think of Simon?
He was all right. I mean, he's good.
It's funny that if you put it on paper to me, like...
He's no longer Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, like Simon Pegg is in Mission Impossible. I would be like...
His fight scene was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would be like, oh yeah, he's just the guy who gives the gadgets out, right? He's that guy. Like, that's how I think he fits.
Yeah, because you wanted this to be like Bond.
Yeah, but he fights he has a fight towards the end of this movie that is like...
It's kind of like he's getting the shit beat out of him, but the fight scene is good.
I was reading a thing that he took a whole year to get into shape for this movie, and in fact, the movie people said you don't really need to be in that good shape for it. But he went over and above, and he ended up with a six-pack, and he was like, "What the hell? I've got a six-pack."
I don't know. He's pretty skinny.
Apparently, he was pretty ripped underneath there. Rebecca Ferguson returns as Isla Faust. Sid Talk over there didn't remember her from the last movie, I don't think.
I can't help it. I can't help it if the things just don't stay in my brain.
She's well, you do remember her because you remember the scene she was in from the last one. You just don't remember what she really was, right?
No.
I really like her. She's, she's like not like a damsel in distress at all.
True.
In fact, she's probably more capable than they are. And she's just pretty badass, like, most of the time.
Definitely.
Sean Harris plays the bad guy again, Solomon Lane. He was just called Lane in the last one. Now he's Solomon Lane. He's a creepy motherfucker, especially with that beard.
He's creepy, but, I mean, somebody wants to bring down the social structure of the current regime of governments who are handling all of the humans as we are puppets on their string. Give me a break. I mean, find a new cause, It gets a little, okay, I get it. You want to destroy everything because you're a prick.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
He
does a fine job of being kind of weirdly but not intimidating, sort of intimidating by proxy because he has everybody else do his dirty work until the Simon Pegg thing, but.
Yep. Vanessa Kirby plays the White Widow. She's just like if you're a Mission Impossible fan, there's a connection to her and the first movie. You'll work out yourself. But what did you think of her? She's right. New to this.
She was loving on Tom.
Yeah,
she was like, I'm a psychopath, but you are crazy.
Yeah, she's like a what is she? A go-between
broker.
Broker, yeah.
Yeah.
Glamorous broker.
Very glamorous. Very glam.
Alec Baldwin plays Alan Huntley again. He was in the last one. I like Alec Baldwin. I think he's like good in that authoritative role. He doesn't have much to do here. Black Klansman, at the beginning of Black Klansman, when he was in that, kind of gets to do some hardcore stuff. But in this, he's just the boss, right?
Yeah.
And Angela Bassett as Erica Sloane. I can't say I love Angela Bassett. I don't know what it is. I find that she's always the same. But you could say
controversial.
You could say that for Alec Baldwin also, and I probably would.
Sometimes, yeah.
But Angela Bassett, she has a part in this, but it wouldn't matter if she wasn't in it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess the character's not very super developed. It's just there's a person that, there's an authority person on the... She's usually on a video screen or, she shows up sometimes. This is directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He also directed Rogue Nation and Jack Reacher, which is another Tom Cruise. So he's no stranger of working with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is no longer Jack Reacher.
No. But Christopher McQuarrie... this movie had to be challenging as a director. We saw him standing in the back of that plane.
Yeah.
Cinematography-wise, just explain what that guy had to do.
Which guy? The camera guy?
Cinematographer guy, yeah.
Was he he was a diver. He's not a cinematographer.
He was in charge of the camera work for that scene.
Right. Well, he had to wear a camera on his head, $250,000 camera, $500,000 camera.
$750,000.
Well, there you go. And then
IMAX camera.
Right, and they had to skydive from that highest thing that you do. What's it called?
Halo.
Right, with Tom Cruise and get it right. I mean, just filming free fall and
not just once. Like, I don't know how many times they said they had to do it. It was a lot, though, right?
Yeah,
maybe 100.
Can't remember what he said.
I mean, they were jumping out of a plane basically at the same time every day because they were doing it at sunset, or was it sunrise? Sunset.
Looked like sunset.
So, like, every day they did a jump until they got it right. But they weren't doing it once and then they're just doing it until they got it right. And this guy, with this crazy camera strapped to his head, it's not a GoPro, it's like a freaking giant IMAX camera.
So basically me saying it didn't count. You're just going to say it again. Go for it. I'm saying you had me describe it, but now you're describing it again. Yeah,
well, you didn't describe all of it.
Oh, okay.
The point I was trying to make was that he has to, they even explain it in the extras, he has to focus the camera. I don't know how he was doing that. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, he said by a device. But
in his hand.
But then he said, I just had to do it by knowing the camera and where I'm at.
So he just knows like the focal distance of the lens and then makes sure that he's that far away from the subject all the time.
Right.
Which might be easy in a normal movie, but this guy's skydiving at the same time. Right?
Correct.
So, I want to see that guy get some recognition and some, nobody's done that before. It's like a new thing. So, what did you think of Christopher McQuarrie as a director? Do you like him?
I mean, I don't know if it's not interchangeable. Probably, Yeah,
well, that's really not giving him any credit at all, though.
I'm not saying he doesn't have credit for doing a good job on this, but there's no stamp about him being it. You know what I mean? It doesn't scream. It doesn't have any particular style. It's got too much fucking camera flair. Come on. J.J. Abrams, get out of it. Get out. Don't touch it. Don't influence anybody. It looks like crap. It's really boring to have that. It's constant. I counted probably every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there was more camera flare, and it
didn't look like it looked like real practical in-lens camera stuff.
I don't think so.
Because I noticed that they put a lot of lights around the edges, and then the edges were reflecting back in the camera.
Yeah, I don't think it was all real, no.
Oh, I think it was real.
Okay.
Because I only noticed it in maybe 2 scenes.
Oh, God, I didn't.
There's one near the beginning where they're in the tunnel. And that tunnel had lights like a tunnel would.
No, it was in there a lot. Trust me. You know me. I hate it. It drives me crazy.
Well, I didn't notice it a lot. I did notice it a couple of times, but then I thought, that actually looks pretty cool. especially in the there's one
Very
scene.
different.
There's one scene where they're in a hospital room at the beginning. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the windows were like, blown out, and there was a lens flare coming through the windows.
It doesn't look awesome to me. I think it's just really pretentious because it's unnecessary. It does nothing. It says nothing.
How do you make sure you get a lens flare if you want one?
Fake it.
Just shine a light right into the lens.
Close your aperture down a lot. The smaller your aperture is, the more lens flare.
Can
you're
you
gonna
take
get.
a photo with a lens flare?
I can. I have.
And like if you take a
Intentionally.
photo of the street lights at night kind of thing.
Yeah, if you get it to where it's catching just the corner, straight on, you're going to get the starburst effect. And
Right.
if it's kind of off to the side, all of a sudden you get like a weird vunk across the vunk. If that's the technical term, right across the picture.
There were some moments in this where the lens flare was there in front of Tom Cruise's face, kind of covering him up. I don't like that.
So you did notice it, you see?
In that tunnel was mainly where I saw it.
Yeah.
So this is a fantastic disc, by the way. This is the 4K Blu-ray digital copy combo pack. It's got like 4 discs inside it. So you get the movie, and there's 4 commentaries on the movie. One with the director and Tom Cruise. There's one with the director and the editor. There's 4 different ones. It's crazy. There's never 4 commentaries on a Blu-ray.
It's like your dream come true.
Yeah. Then there's an isolated score track. So if you like the music, which is pretty exciting in this, there's some really good remixes of the Mission Impossible theme, especially in the helicopter part. It's like a real cool orchestral version of it. So you can listen to all the music like that. Then there's a whole disc. It's a disc 3, which is an inside look at Mission Impossible. It's really in depth. It's not one of those EPK things. It's a proper made. You can tell Tom Cruise wants you to see how his movies are made. He wants you to see what he does. He doesn't want you to think that it wasn't him and it was CG trickery.
Yeah.
So when you see the extras and you see him doing it, you're like, yep, he is doing it. And the extras cover everything in this movie. I couldn't find the part where Tom Cruise famously broke his ankle in this movie, and they had to shut down the production. You see him break his ankle in the movie. Now, it's when he jumps between 2 buildings in the London sequences. Now, he only jumps 3 times, so we saw him break his ankle, we just didn't know which one. Right?
Yeah.
We think we knew which one. But you'll see him break his ankle in the movie because they just left it in there because it really looks realistic. I guess you have to look at his face to see how much pain he's in. There's also deleted scenes with director commentary. There's a foot chase musical breakdown. If you want to watch Tom Cruise run in slow motion with his sticky out,
That
he always
run.
has his palm sticking out. That's in there. There's a storyboard thing. There's a digital copy. It is really loaded. It says 60 plus minutes of special features, but with the commentaries, it's more like 10 hours plus of special features. So yeah, you're getting all kinds. There's also a book. Now I've never seen this for a long time, but inside the case is a actual book, the making of Mission Impossible. I wouldn't call this a book, even though they say it's a book on the on the front page. On the cover, it says, includes a free book. You see this? This is not a book, is it?
No.
It's more of a pamphlet. But if you like Mission Impossible and you want to see lots of photos of Tom being chased by a camera in a helicopter, I'm looking through it now. He does a bit of a homage to when he climbed the rock face in the second movie. But there's a bit more high stakes going on this time. He's just doing it for a hobby in the beginning of Mission Impossible 2. He's really trying to save his life in this one. But yeah, there's a little book. There's many extras and lots of commentaries. I'll be delving into all those commentaries this week. So, conclusion, what do you think of Mission Impossible Fallout?
It was fun. It was fun. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's just a fun way to spend an afternoon.
I think aside from number 2, sorry, Mr. John Woo, they're all a fun afternoon. You know, if you want to watch a cool spy movie, watch a Bond movie or watch a Mission Impossible movie. I find them both to be equally as quality as each other. So yeah, I recommend it. Mission Impossible Fallout. I can't wait to see what he does next. Oh, Top Gun. Actually, they said at the beginning, didn't they, when they were telling us to turn off the thing on our TV?
Yeah, they were on the set of Top Gun.
Top Gun Maverick, as it is called. So, yeah, we're going to see Top Gun next summer. So, movie recommendations. I am going on the theme of Mission Impossible and Mr. Tom Cruise. Magnolia, his greatest dramatic performance, in my opinion. It is very... That movie is... If you're having in a happy, upbeat mood, don't watch that movie.
Oh my God, no. But if you're really depressed, also, don't watch that movie.
It'll really drag you down.
It'll wreck you. Yeah. We watched it again. I've only seen it twice, I think.
I've seen it a few times.
And the second time I was like, my God.
It's very sad. I mean,
it is not just sad.
It's not just sad. It's like, it's just an emotional, like...
Yeah, it's huge commentary on humanity, for sure.
Yeah,
human condition kind of thing.
When I say I was going to say emotional roller coaster, but it's not that either. It's just like, it goes all the way down. Like, you just go down.
You never know what
it starts off, because you're just like, you don't know what it is. You come into it, you're like, oh, okay. And then you just, and then at the end, you're like, oh. So yeah, it makes you feel something. I like that. There's not tons of movies that can do that, is there?
True.
And my other one is Jack Reacher, which is similar to a Mission Impossible movie. It's just on the lowdown. It's not quite as crazy. He's not going to fly a helicopter and, do mad stunts. But he will run, and he will shoot some guns. And it's, spy-ish kind of stuff. So I'll go with Jack Reacher. What are you going with?
I'm going with a couple of movies that the ladies have made. Michelle Monaghan, is that her name? Monaghan?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Did we mention she was in this movie? No,
she was in this movie. I remember. She was his wife at some point, and then she had to, get out of the biz. So she's in hiding or whatever with some weird guy.
The Hunger Games game creator.
I can't handle that guy. Seriously. He's like a fake Wolverine right off a comic page or something. I don't dig him. Anyway, was in...
That is just his facial hair she's going from.
She was... Yeah, well, all of it. He's got intense eyes and... His face is structured in a way.
He can't help his eyes.
I know. That needs to do. I probably liked him in Hunger Games. I don't even remember. But she was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
I don't remember that she was in that. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a weird one. It's got Val Kilmer, Val Kilmer, and Iron Man.
It's by the guy, the movie The Good Guys that we really liked as well.
Yeah.
It's by that guy.
That style is it's weird. It's funky. And The Good Guys, that's a good one. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was a fun one, too. So The Good Guys, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, they're clumped together. And then, I have homemade soup in the wrong spot. That's for supper. That's not a movie, although it probably is a movie. The other one is Strange Days, because it was a weird one, too, from, I think, the 80s.
Yeah, 90s. I remember
Angela
that one.
Bassett.
Yep.
She was in that. So there you go.
It was like a weird hallucinatory,
it was
kind
like
of druggy.
You could get other people's memories, remember?
That was right.
So that's kind of interesting.
We were into that at one point in movies.
Future of the telling of our future.
Yeah, like, what was the one with Keanu Reeves before The Matrix?
Come on, what was it? Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic, that was another one. Yeah.
Come on.
That was really ahead of its time, that movie.
It wasn't good.
It's just badly, when you watch it now, you're like, ugh.
Like, come on, Neo.
Why is iced tea in it?
You think?
So yeah, there are recommendations. Ace Scully stuff, been playing exactly two games, Red Dead and Assassin's Creed. I've talked about them at length. Red Dead, I think I'm closing in on the end of the game now. Sad. My cowboy's got the black lung.
Oh dear.
He keeps coughing.
Oh my.
I don't really like coughing. And he coughs a lot.
I'll remember that next time I get a cold. I'll remember that your fake compassion is like, please stop coughing.
So if you hate coughing, I have a friend who really hates coughing.
Yeah, he does.
If you hate coughing, you might not like the end of this game because a lot of coughing. And
can you just take a lozenge?
I don't know if they had cowboy lozenges. Maybe they did.
No, that would cure being a cowboy.
I did try an experiment of I smoked 20 packets of cigarettes in a row.
Okay.
Not in real life, in the game.
Fascinating.
And they've recorded lots of different coughing, and if you keep smoking them, the coughing gets worse and worse. So that's a little detail that's in there. I was like, well, he's got the black lung, he's got coughing all the time, screw it, just smoke the cigarettes. I've got 20 in my bag. Let's keep smoking them. So, if you want, you can simulate anything in that game, including smoking yourself to death.
Or not. It didn't work.
Yeah.
So.
And Assassin's Creed, the first DLC for Assassin's Creed comes out this upcoming Tuesday. It's the first, season pass paid DLC, so you get a whole new story on Tuesday. And that'll be... you have to buy the season pass, but... Who doesn't want more Assassin's Creed? It's awesome. So what's for dinner, Sita?
I'm holding out my hand because I couldn't care less, but...
Oh, you don't like Assassin's Creed?
I don't dislike it. I'm neutral. I don't want it. I don't crave it.
I do. I crave it.
I
you know,
understand.
like you crave Cities Skylines or The Sims.
I don't crave that, but when you give it to me, I'm going to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I'm doing right this second. Because I can't put the train station where I want it because my friggin' road's in the wrong place. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm thinking about laterally to what you're saying. What's for dinner?
Yes.
You're saying what's for dinner? Homemade soup. It's on the stove right this minute. Because I was, over this last weekend, just 175 miles north of where we are. And the temperature today when I left there was 35. And when I got here, it was 60. So and there was snow everywhere there. They had big piles of snow everywhere. The roads were still slushy. There were lots of gravel roads there. Slushy, icy. My mom's driveway was still covered with slush and ice and
weird how
embankment.
different it is.
I get down here. Well, first I went through an hour and a half of the thickest fog I've ever driven in at noon. We're talking during the middle of the day. Just the thickest, crazy fog. And then all of a sudden it disappeared. And there's no snow. It's like I went to another dimension. There's no snow. I looked at my car temperature thing and it said 59. I was like, what? I was literally freezing when I got in the car with my sweater and my scarf. Then I peeled everything off. But being in the cold made me want soup. And today I had ramen soup at a natural restaurant I ate with my friend. And it was amazing. And so that's what we're having.
What, ramen soup?
Not ramen, my own homemade soup, which is, I'm not fancy. I use frozen vegetables, canned vegetables, frozen onions, bouillon. We're vegetarian, so I get this vegan bouillon that tastes amazing, and I put it in there with the Quorn products, the Quorn, not actual chicken nuggets, but they're made out of mycoprotein. And just for your friend who thinks we do eat chicken and fish, we do not.
What did he say?
That we say we do, we don't. We eat fake. If you like to call it fake meat, I don't give a shit. I'm not on a mission to get anybody not to eat meat or dead animals. I don't care. I don't care what you eat. My family deals with meat processing. It doesn't bother me. But we don't eat fish, chicken, cattle, pigs, crabs, any other meat.
Anything with a face.
We don't eat the broth. However, we do still do dairy and eggs. So we are not vegan. We're not on a...
vegetarian.
Yeah, we don't have a cause of any kind. It just is really easy, I think. A lot of people disagree. My mom made me some veggie chili over the weekend. Hers had a huge amount of hamburger in it. Mine had no meat in it. And she's like, oh, I've got to have the meat. I'm like, nah, you really don't.
Exactly.
You'd be fine. Look at me. I am definitely not skinny. Way from skinny. I'm not starving or anything, so that's what's for dinner. Homemade soup.
And what's your advice? And then we'll leave.
My advice is, when you have friends, speaking of my friend I had for dinner. No, that would not be vegetarian.
That's Hannibal Lecter.
If I had, there'd be a little cannibalism there. The friend I ate lunch with. We've been friends since we were 13. We hated each other for a year or two of school, and then just, close. We were in a small town. We were the only two girls in a lot of the classes in junior high. We ended up being friends, and we've been friends ever since. That happens to be about 40 years. 40 years, yeah. Oh my God, I'm 51, so that is about 40 years. And we're different. We're very different, and yet we were talking about how other people are the type of friends who expect you to do certain things, or then they're irritated that they think, well, you're not my friend. Like, I sent you a text. Why didn't you text me back? She and I are very similar in this. She'll be like, I look at the phone, somebody's telling me something, and I'm like, okay. I don't feel like I have to tell them, okay. Right. I just think, okay, you're telling me. And she's like, then they'll be like, why didn't you text me back? And so, and then there's like a vibe, you know, like, well, you're the kind of friend who's unreliable. You don't call me back. You don't answer my texts. You don't do this. And she and I are similar in this. We're not a reach out. We don't reach out much to each other. You know what I mean? But we do. Just enough. And I'm that way with everyone. I just pick and choose when I feel like, if I look at the phone, somebody's calling me, I'm like, I don't really want to talk right now. But later I send a text and say, hey, I saw you call me. What's up? That's the kind of friend I am. Unless you need something. And I feel like if my friends need something, they need to leave me a voicemail. We have an understanding. Leave me a voicemail, send me a text, tell me what's wrong. Don't just say, call me right away. Because I might be like, why are you, did you get a new car? I don't care. So that's me. I seem kind of cold-hearted. And she feels like she is too. And with each other, we're perfect. Because we don't have any expectations whatsoever. You just are what you are. If I send her a text and say, I'm coming through town, I'm going to be there in an hour, what are you up to? And she looks at it and thinks, well, I'm really busy. I don't really want to do I'm doing something already. And she doesn't write me back. I don't care. I don't drive through town going, oh, she didn't write me and she was with her other friend. I don't care. Let your friends be the kind of friends they are, unless they are abusive or they're sucking up all your resources or they're living on your couch when you don't want them to, but then that's probably your own fault. But just let people be the way they are in the relationship instead of what you expect them to be. And if they're meant to then be your friend, if you balance each other out, they'll stick around. If not, ditch them. Like, it's not difficult. So that's it.
Right.
Not succinct. Don't even say that was close to succinct.
Ditch them is the message. Ditch 'em.
My advice is get rid of the losers.
All right. So you can catch us on ascully.com, sidtar.com, Twitter and Facebook. You can catch this podcast on ascully.com. Click on the word podcast. You can subscribe on Google Play, iTunes Music Store, TuneIn, YouTube, or just use the RSS feed and use anything. Use Plex. Plex has podcast support now. We're on there. Email feedback to me at ascully@ascully.com. Don't email Sid Talk. She thinks you all suck.
No, I don't think everybody's... I don't think everybody's a jerk.
And
I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot. But not everybody.
Most of them are jerks.
No, not most. Just a lot.
And stay classy, Mr. Tom Cruise, who we will next see in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh my God.
I love Top Gun.
I know you do. You are like you're such a fanboy. My God.
I really love Top Gun. I can't believe that he's making another
fanboy. And I'm going to say, think for yourselves, or somebody will do it for you.